Hey guys, so welcome to part 2, and now I'm going to show you how to use surface imperfection overlays with polygon textures. Now we have our tiles that we set up in the first part, and I'm going to go and create a new material, and this is going to be another generic, and this is going to be my overlay, so I'll just rename it. And then I'm going to apply this material to the selection so that we can see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to take my diffuse here, turn it all the way to white, and then open up the opacity tab here. And this is where we're going to be loading in our image. Now, instead of loading in bitmap, I'm actually going to load in this color correction, and I'll show you why later. So load that in. And then under texture, I'll load the bitmap. And I'm going to be using this generic liquid stain right here. Okay, so now the image is driving the opacity of this material. So you can see the sections that are white are showing and the sections that are black are being cut out. However, the UV scale is way off right now. So I'm going to change this to smaller value, say 0.5. And I'll just leave that as is for now. So I'll go back. And now that we have our two materials, our overlay and our tiles, I'm going to create a third material, and that is going to be a blend. And this, of course, is going to be blending these two materials together. So I'll right-click, apply the material to selection. And then up here, I'm going to click these three dots, and I'm going to duplicate this blend. So essentially, this is going to be my first material, this first blend material, and that's going to be the overlay. And then this second one is going to be my tiles. So under base material, I'll go and select overlay. And then down here under blend 1, I'm going to change this to tiles. Now we can see the two materials blending together, however, the tiles aren't showing up. And I find the way to quickly correct that is to go over here to use texture image, and then just choose my color map for the tiles. There, then they'll appear correctly. Now if I zoom in a bit, we'll see the effect taking place. So essentially the overlay material is now on top of the tiles, and that's exactly what we want. So in order to make some further adjustments to that, we can go back to our overlay, and then clicking here, I'll show you why we added this color correction. So if we go down to brightness and contrast, if we change the values ever so slightly, we can actually adjust how much of this overlay is going to be appearing on top. So if I turn the brightness down, you can see it's becoming less obvious. And I find that the best method here is just to do a balance between brightness and contrast. And that way you can just adjust the image and make it look exactly how you'd like. As you can see, I brought the contrast down there. It washed the whole thing out. So yeah, this is a great way just to control how much of the image you actually want to see. Okay. So going back, the last thing I'll mention is that you probably noticed, zooming in here, that the displacement is not functioning. And so even though if I go back to tiles here and go to displacement, we have our displacement map, it's actually not reading it. So in order to re-add the displacement back onto your object, we need to go back to the blend, and then go to maps, displacement, enable it, and then make sure to load in the displacement map again. So here it is, the 16-bit displacement. Remember to stop the render and then reinitialize it. Now if something odd like this happens where the UVs sort of like mess up, again I'd recommend just going back to use texture image, and I'll just choose the displacement map as the image, and then that should reinitialize everything correctly. And I think that's just a bug that's happening with Vray at the moment. I'll stop and reinitialize the render here. And there we go. Now we can see the displacement happening properly. And again, you can change the strength, so I'll just put it down to 0.4. There we have it. So zooming out, we'll see the full effect. And that's how you can add surface imperfections on top of your existing material. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.